Greetings and welcome to Mind the Moment in everyday life. Now, each month we take a theme and we explore how mindfulness can support us in bringing that theme to life in our everyday lives. Our theme for this month of April is the mindful gardener, in which we're exploring mindfulness practices that support how we garden and gardening practices that inform what it means to be mindful. I'm your host, John Roberts from Living Well Community. That's your home for interactive virtual wellness classes and on-demand programming created and curated by Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. I'm thrilled to be joined all this month by your mindfulness guide, Shanti Douglas. Welcome,
Good.
Shanti. Good to see you.
Good morning, John. What an absolutely beautiful day it is today.
Oh, no, we have a good one here. Now, folks, everyone joining us today, we'd love for you to be a part of this conversation. Open up the chat if you would. Let us know of any questions or comments that arise at any point during the session. But to get us started, Shanti, I believe you have something you are interested in asking folks.
I do actually, I know that we're talking about gardening and I want to show before I forget. Here's the 2 week old zinnia plants. I'm super excited. You can tell they were leaning towards the sun. But I'm wondering, not everyone really likes to garden. Maybe I don't want to dig my hands in the dirt, etc. So I'd love to hear from you in the chat. How do you play in nature? Where do you like to spend time outside, with the sky and the ground and the fresh air and the animals? What do you like to do that brings you closer to that sense of earth, that sense of nature? So love to have you share in the chat. Might be a regular exercise routine that you have or something that you love to do on a vacation. Oh, I love all these things coming in. Yeah,
Yes,
some
the people are speaking. We have the beach, hiking, birding. Love that term, birding. Walking in conservation areas, hiking in state parks, walking through the woods, hiking. Another one for the beach, preferably the ones in Puerto Rico. Yes, that's a good sand there. Shanti, just for myself, I'm lucky here because at the base of the hill, which slopes down to the woods from the edge of our backyard, there's a nice brook, which, especially when we're getting rain, like we've been getting, it bubbles along at a pretty good clip. And so my son and I like to race sticks and leaves down the brook, sometimes making impromptu waterfalls by, lightly damming parts of it. He's at that phase of life where he likes to poke things with sticks, and so there's a lot of poking things in the water with sticks. And some of us never outgrow that. Photographing nature, that's a great way to really kind of get in that engagement sense, where you are playing with nature, as you put it, Shanti. Kayaking, very good. Shanti, is there a way that besides gardening, is there something
I
that you like?
love that. Yeah, so I really appreciate pretty much everything that everybody's sharing. Love, love, love the beach. Love to be out in the woods hiking on a trail. Photography is really wonderful. And I had a giggle at, I remember when my kids were younger, we were crossing a bridge and we all had sticks and we ran from one side and 1, 2, 3, go. We all dropped our sticks because of course mom's a real competitor. And then ran to the other side to see whose stick was first, and very, very exciting. I love that. It's just being playful, right? We've got to get back into that play zone, which, as adults, adulting is not easy. It is not easy. So bringing in that childlike nature, I think, is just brings us back to our home and that joy and having fun again.
Speaking of which, Shanti, I have to ask, have you named the sprouts that are coming up in your planter there?
Oh, no, I hadn't even thought of naming them.
Maybe we
Hadn't
can
even,
do that for next week. Well,
yeah. And this
I mean, they
morning
probably
I
each have
woke,
their own personality.
yeah, and this morning I already planted some sunflowers and some poppies outside because, it's absolutely gorgeous and I am super impatient. So praying that we don't get any more freeze. Yes.
Well, Shawnee, if I can, so let me a little context here. So in our last session, we were talking about how we might uh, care for whatever happens to be sprouting from those seeds that we planted. Specifically, you were mentioning how we might give thought to what our plants need more or less of day to day. And we could also reflect on what we ourselves need more or less of moment to moment in order to thrive. Okay, so Shanti, when it comes to my own plans, I've been trying my best not to act like a cat who is perched across the room from what might be a mouse hole, gaze fixed unwaveringly upon the opening. But it's hard not to check my plants, 10 times a day just to see if there's any action happening. And I'm going to tell you what, there really hasn't been any so far. And I was too embarrassed to even bring them over to show you, Shanti, because it's just a blank dirt canvas. And so I have to ask, how do you know when it's time to throw in the towel? How do you know when it's time to strip the thing for parts and just start over?
Well, I think it's like anything that we are trying to grow and move in towards, we've got to give it a little bit more time. Take a look at the conditions. If I do recall, unfortunately, John, sorry to remind you of this, but I think you drowned out your plants by letting them stay. Actually, they weren't even plants, letting them stay out in a big rainfall. So,
Drowned out
you
is a
probably
nice way to
have,
put it.
yeah, you have a whole pot of compost, which is fantastic, right? And there's added elements in there now. So it's okay to begin again. And, we can use that even in our life, taking a peek at, hey, is this thing that I'm doing, is this goal that I have, is this idea that I've been spending a lot of time and energy on, is it working out? Or am I putting in too much effort, too many overriding expectations of it? And can I instead step back and say, yeah, it's time to do something else? And I think that gives us the opportunity for a lot of grace that, I'm learning to have with myself, that I don't need to be in that full force charge all the time. I can just kind of step back and reassess and regroup and formulate a new plan.
Yeah, you're actually reminding me of this principle of business, the so-called sunk cost fallacy, where you just keep pouring money and resources into something that is just not bearing any fruit. And I'm almost wondering, maybe I can use this experience with my plant as inspiration to perhaps bring that quality of beginning again and not clinging to something that's not working into my personal and professional life. Uh,
Exactly.
Ooh,
Exactly.
and somebody mentions lots of good seedling sales coming.
Yes. Yeah.
So I suppose this is the moment for me to see what
Yeah.
else is out there.
Take advantage. And then, it's a great way and time to kind of look back, and so that we don't repeat things. I mean, look at how many times we repeat certain elements in our life. And it's, part of the mindfulness practice is to look at it and say, hey, well, what helped and what didn't help?
Mhm.
And what do I want to change moving forward? So I'm not having some of those same results over and over and over. Like, history is not repeating itself.
Well, Shanti, as we're talking about moving forward, so in our first session we talked about planting. Last week we talked about tending the sprouts. How would you like to direct us today?
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about growth, right? And part of growth is weeding out, right? In our life, while we're growing, we're moving, we're ebbing, we're flowing. We know that life is constantly changing, conditions are always changing. And sometimes we can get really stuck with either our expectations or the way that we want things to be. And a huge part of not just planting, but in our life is to really begin to weed out those elements that are no longer serving us. And I know this is hard. In my garden, I have a weeding, it's needed, but thinning out is feels so difficult for me, because there's an investment in that plant that we have. There's an investment in what we spend some time and energy on. But really, when we don't weed things out, things tend to be overwhelmed, things tend to be cluttered, and it's really hard to see clearly where you want to put your time and attention. So that's sort of what we're going to be focusing on in our meditation today.
And I suppose it is about finding balance, right? Because you don't, I mean, you of course want to create space, but at the same time, maybe not just chuck something out as soon as it starts to become, difficult to work with.
Yeah, right. Yeah, having that balance, right?
Mm.
That middle way, that balance point, which is not rigid, it's constantly moving, right? But having that awareness is, I think, the most important aspect of defining what your balance is. And your balance is different than my balance. And my balance today is different than it was 2 years ago, right? So, again, it's a constant being present with our situation, with our life, and what is needed right here and right now. Because what we do right here and right now are the conditions that are going to support every single future moment.
Beautiful. Well, I think could be a great segue into the guided
Great.
meditation if that feels right to you, Shanti.
Yes,
Okay.
wonderful. So I'm going to invite everybody to get comfortable in your body right now, in your space. Readjust your posture. If you need to rotate your shoulders back and around just to release some of that micro tension that may have already accumulated from today, letting that heart open, closing the eyes if that feels right for you, or just a soft haze gaze, relaxing your belly to indicate to your body, I'm right here. It's okay. Let's just be. And we're going to spend some time connecting to the earth elements, right? Because we are literal earth walking. So today I'm going to invite you to connect to a special place that you might have, a place that offers a sense of ground and stability, just like your best meditation posture. When we feel supported, our life has that opportunity to grow and to really be in whatever direction is most important for us. So, relaxing that belly, breathing into your body, connecting to your space, your time, your moment. And now I'd like you to imagine that you're at a nearby place in nature. And this is a place that brings you a sense of connection, calm, ease, maybe a sense of awe. It feels harmonizing for you to be here. It might be a place that you look forward to going to after a hard day's work, a place that you can just go and rest and decompress, or to process whatever the day was like. Perhaps it's your local park or a stream that you have in your local area. Maybe there's an orchard feel overlooking some grasslands or mountaintops, or even just a favorite place in your space, sitting outside in the sun, being unencumbered to be right here. Whatever place feels accessible to you, easy to get to. So just imagine yourself in this very comfortable, comforting, very accessible place. And as you breathe into your body, breathe into all the elements that make this space a favorite place for you. What is it about this place that has you feeling calm, easeful, connected? And take a moment to notice the ground underneath your feet or your body. What does it feel like? Is it warm? Is it cool, sandy, earth? Does it give you a sense of stability, centeredness? And then gazing up to the sky, the clouds. What's above you? Perhaps it's tree limbs sheltering your space, or an open view that reaches out in endless directions. Breathe in that vastness. And what are the sounds of this special place? There are birds flittering about, a gentle breeze through the leaves, water gently moving down a stream or riverbed. Or maybe it's just the sound of primordial silence. Maybe it's just the sound of your breath and your heart beating. And then noticing if there's any specific smells to your special place. Salt water, pine leaves, the smell of rich earth, the smell of white fluffy clouds. Again, just taking some moments to fully embrace all of the elements that are the container of this space that help you to feel fresh, stable, centered. That really provide the space from which you can come back to yourself. Come back to yourself with clarity. Oh, I'm right here. I'm part of this. Nothing else exists except for me with it. Feeling fresh, feeling alive. And tapping into the sense of bigger self, of your heart, of your body, of your whole being. That sense of goodness. Take a moment to notice what would be important for me to let go of, to release, so that I can spend more time in this quality feeling sense, so that I can have this element of better balance, ease, and flow as I go through my day. What would be important for me to let go of? What can I, with love and kindness, weed out, change, shift? And just taking a moment to notice if anything comes up, if there's an expectation, a relationship, an idea, a habit that your intuition is sharing with you. Yeah, let's just put that down. Let's change that condition so that we can feel like our best self more often. So we can grow and be stable and strong with what's most important for us in our life right now. What do I need? What do I not need? And let's take a moment as we close our practice today, giving yourself a gentle smile, a smile of appreciation for being here today, for taking this time, smiling to the special place that you have right there where you are that feels good. You can always return, whether it's in your mind or in your physical form, and smiling in gratitude to everyone here practicing with us, supporting us here today. Taking another breath, and whenever it feels right, if your eyes have been closed, you can open. Thank you, everyone.
Shanti, as we were doing that, I was thinking folks might uh, have something to say about what they are thinking about letting go of. If anyone's willing to share, we'd love to know, what do you think you might feel like you can let go of to add some more space to your life? Like, I can give an example. I feel like come about 5 minutes before I'm about ready to go to bed, I often have my phone in my hand. I'm like, I better check the news just to make sure that nothing really important just happened. And I'm gonna tell you what. I don't think that's ever worked out well for me. So I think that's going to be something I try to let go, and I think that's going to help out. Sean, I don't know if you are willing to share if there's anything that you have been thinking about letting go of in your life.
Yeah, multitasking for sure. That's been a process. I have a lot of wonderful projects. I'm like so super excited for like this energy of excitement is just like ramping through me here, especially in springtime. But then I'm like a squirrel in the street going, where do I start? Where do I go? Where do I start? Sort of thing. And I don't want to do that. So cutting it to, chunking time. Okay, for 2 hours, this, for 1 hour, this, so that I can actually be present with what I'm doing. And, it gives me that feeling of I'm checking the box along the way, which I super love. But it helps me just to be more present with what my intention is, because I don't want to build that thing or create that thing with a scattered energy. It just isn't going to work out well. Then I'm going to have to backtrack, and I don't want to do that. I need to be efficient and with my energy and my time. So that's very helpful for me.
Somebody says they're going to try to stop checking 8 different apps on their phone every hour, cutting down on that background white noise and also reducing clutter around the house is a great time to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody says that they're like you, Shanti, they're going to be trying to whittle down the number of projects that they're committing to. It's a
No,
spring
because
cleaning moment, right?
yeah, and things take, I don't know about you, but I find they take 3 times as long as I think they're going to take. Even though I feel like I'm a great planner, it's like, no, no, it usually ends up being 3 times at least. So, and so then let's have that information. And when we schedule things, even in our workday, right? Let me give myself extra space and room so that I'm not in a flurry, so that I am attentive and then I find that's how I feel refreshed through the day. I'm not going along exhausted. I'm like, I'm right here and I'm good and I'm present. So um, that's very helpful for me.
Shanti, as we're looking forward to next week, I'm wondering if you have thoughts on what we should be, how we should be working with our plants and ourselves, how we should be thinking about organizing that.
Yeah, I would say let's use this week to sort of experiment and bring in that mindful eye as you go through the day, checking in often, but at least at the end of the day, what went well and what really didn't go well, and not bringing in that critical mind if things didn't go well. It's more of a celebration of, great, I have that awareness that kind of went off the rails. What do I not want to do next time? How can I support myself? And of course, we always want to celebrate what is going well, right? Cheer ourselves on, just like we cheer our beautiful plants with that sunshine. We want to cheer ourselves with our own sunshine.
Excellent. Thank you, Shanti. I'm so grateful again for your guidance this week as in previous weeks, and I look forward to next week where we'll be continuing to explore this topic with you a bit more. Thank you so much for your guidance today. A final word before we go from the author Barbara Kingsolver. She wrote, quote, "April is the cruelest month," T.S. Eliot wrote, by which I think he meant, amongst other things, that springtime makes people crazy. We expect too much. The world burgeons with promises it can't keep. All passion is really a setup, and we're doomed to get our hearts broken yet again. I agree and would further add, who cares? Every spring I go out there anyway, around the bend, unconditionally. Come the end of the dark days, I am more than joyful. I'm nuts. End quote. That's Barbara Kingsolver. And as Michael Keaton might have added in Batman, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Thank you for joining us in this crazy task of planting in uncertain weather and the perhaps even crazier, but no less noble endeavor of choosing mindfulness in uncertain times. We'll be back next week, same time, same bat channel with Shanti, and you too, I hope. Until then, please go forth, folks, and do be excellent to each other.